pleased to have as my guest the co-chairs of the Worcester Business Resource Alliance. First, Peter Dunn, who is the Business Programs Manager for the City of Worcester, and Gina Betti, who is the Associate Director of the Entrepreneurship Program at WPI, and also the co-founder of that program.
Yes.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we could jump right in, and Peter, I'll start with you. For our viewers, what is the Worcester Business Resource Alliance, and how is it created to help kind of foster this entrepreneurship interest that's out there?
Sure. A few years ago, it was created to really have some coordination among the organizations and agencies that provide support to either entrepreneurs or existing business owners in the city and the region as well. So we share information, and we're really the network of resources and assistance for small business owners. And
Gina, it's a pretty good group of businesses and organizations, the Worcester Regional Chamber being one of them. But yes. What is it that is specifically provided for someone who has an interest in starting a business? Because that's really what an entrepreneur is, someone who's...
Well, we serve two different populations. We serve the entrepreneur that is trying to start up their business, and we are also serving the existing small business owner who would like to grow and expand or just improve some facet of their operations or their marketing or whatever it is that they need help with. The organizations that belong in this network come together every month. We have a meeting at the library for an hour and a half, and we update each other on what programs we're providing and what services we may be introducing to the community, as well as what funding initiatives are coming into the city. So if an entrepreneur wants funding, we can point them to a funding source. Mm-hmm. If they need education, we can point them to programs that, for example, the Center for Women in Enterprise may be offering, as well as the Small Business Development Center at Clark. So from the range of services to funding to education, our members in the network are providing all of that to entrepreneurs and small businesses in the city and the region.
And sometimes you hear, there's not there's a lack of coordination, there seems to be competing pieces. But I think when you look at the member organizations, it really is impressive, and it's exactly what I think accomplished what Gina described, that level of resource sharing, information sharing. And I just want to mention who they are, if I could. Essentia Care Alliance, which was formerly Lutheran Social Services. They run an array of programs, to try to help people. Center for Women in Enterprise, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, Enterprise, which is a program people can pay for, right, in terms of getting training on how to be an entrepreneur. The Martin Luther King Jr. Opportunity Center, run by SMART. The Mass Growth Capital Corporation, the Mass Office of Business Development, RCAP Solutions, SCORE, which is housed at the Chamber. Those are business executives, some of them retired, who provide mentorship and guidance. Small Business Administration, the Small Business Development Center at Clark University, also an SBA program. The Venture Forum, Worcester Business Development Corporation. The Worcester Public Library, which also has a small business resource center, how to put together business plans, things like that. The Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Workforce Central Career Center. So a good group.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you mentioned growing, which is great, because it's so important. I mean, Chamber, we're a member-based, business member-based organization, but big corporations are important and employ lots of people. But really, when you look at where the vast number of people are employed, it's through small business, and this is how they start.
Right.
So working with people who are in business and also can work with people who looking to start a business.
Right, absolutely. I think primarily what we do as a group when we meet every month at the library, we're looking for opportunities. So we are exercising opportunity recognition skills to perhaps combine programs, combine clients, combine activities that each one of these organizations would ordinarily do alone. We are now sharing and promoting and recommending, and we're coming to speak at their events. So what we're doing is becoming one huge resource for the city, and we have a website that we put all of this information out to them. And Peter started a great newsletter to also, as well, put those calendar items out there and just kind of share some of the successes that we're seeing in the organizations.
And Peter, I mean, you see this, working with the city, You know, like any great city, it's a gateway city. Immigrants, people coming from across the globe, and how do you leverage that asset? Many people coming here come from cultures and backgrounds. They're very entrepreneurial, small business oriented, and how do you reach out to them and let them know about this resource?
I think one of the great things is that just through the membership of the WBRA, there are so many different organizations that have a little bit of their own identity. So if we're looking to reach a certain population, like women business owners, we'd leverage the Center for Women in Enterprise. If we're looking to reach out to the immigrant population, we might utilize the Essentia Care Alliance, who does a lot with a micro-enterprise development program, as well as some translational services and that type of thing. Micro-lending.
And they also work with some of the refugee populations as well,
right? Right. So we can kind of focus in on some of those populations through some of those members that we have. And I think importantly what we do collectively is take all of those things that are going on and make sure that it's kind of digestible for the entrepreneur, for the small business owner. So Gina mentioned the newsletter that we do. So we get all of the events that are happening for that month, and we do a monthly newsletter so everybody knows what they can take advantage of during that month. And what we've started to do as well is pretty regularly, usually annually, we'll do some sort of open house or entrepreneurship fair where people can come and meet the different members, see what they do, and learn more about those organizations.
Gina, I think you've got kind of a unique perspective that really provides some insight about Worcester and some of our assets being at WPI. I mean, as I mentioned, being a city, constantly new arrivals, people coming to pursue the American dream, but also students. You're working with students, and we've got 38,000 college students in the city and in the region. But for both those populations, which are a huge part of Worcester's and Central Mass's population, this idea of entrepreneurship is increasingly important, because the idea of someone, going to work for one company for their career and then retirement, that's gone. Mm-hmm. And so how do you kind of build that entrepreneurship awareness, and that this is a skill that it's at people's own self-interest to kind of have and not be afraid to pursue?
Well, we have students that self-select, and we also have students that are in courses where they are required to select. We offer competitions at WPI for students with new business ideas or new product ideas or inventions that may lead to intellectual property that can be patented and licensed. Mm-hmm. So we offer several tracks to our students, as well as networking opportunities. For example, the former WPI Venture Forum, which is now the Venture Forum, is doing programs at WPI. WPI will provide space for that program, and we've got the food there, so it's always great to have a little bit of food in a networking event, and students can meet business people, consultants, service providers, investors, and entrepreneurs, mm-hmm. and peer entrepreneurs. So just these networking opportunities that happen once a month, as well as we are promoting other events. There's a venture meetup that happens in Worcester quite frequently. So we'll get that out to the Entrepreneurship Club, and they will disseminate it in their great social media ways. Mm-hmm. So we are providing all kinds of avenue. We've also got a minor in entrepreneurship. So if students want to take a minor, they can do that, and they can start with idea through commercialization and learn all the steps in manageable chunks, so that it doesn't overwhelm them.
No, and I think that's the key. We've got to equip as many people with this kind of tool, and understanding that a business idea or concept is something that you can pursue. You're not alone, and encourage people to do so.
Right.
So I want to thank both of you for being with us, the Worcester Business Resource Alliance. Before we wrap up, if someone wants to come to a meeting, ask questions, how can they reach out to and learn?
We do have a website. It's wbra.wordpress.com. It has a calendar of events coming up this month. It has other resources, information on various topic areas. And this spring, there's going to be a workshop series at the library, actually, where they can go on the website and find out more about that. It's going to start in February and run all the way through April. And
it's free.
And it's free. Good stuff. The price is right.